Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a bit of a dip, Bitcoin falling approximately 2.5%, and Ethereum hovering around that $3,000 mark, a very critical level, down approximately 2%, give or take. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, are a mix of green and red. We have many altcoins holding sideways, Solana, AVAX, Near Protocol, and many, many more. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that is definitely part of that Bitcoin narrative, and that project is called STX. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And of course, you can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's take a look at this market, see what's going on. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, is showing a bit of weakness, falling below the horizontal support. However, guys, you know, there's not much volume in this dip. There's not much volume in that break. And in fact, we didn't even close a candle just yet. We got to wait for this daily candle, and we bounced right above the horizontal. And of course, we'll take a look at Bitcoin in a second. But really, guys, you know, it does show a bit of weakness here, given the fact that, you know, it did break that horizontal support. You know, it doesn't have to dump, you know, automatically once it breaks that level. But the signs are there, guys. The signs are there. You know, as we see Bitcoin dipping down and the overall market cap of the crypto space falling just a little bit, you can see a bit of a tick of volume to the upside, meaning that the market is in consensus of this dip. However, not enough. There's not enough strength in this Bitcoin dip to suggest that we're actually coming down. Now, if we close the daily candle below the horizontal support, and if we get a bit of volume, that is definitely a good indication that we're going to be falling. However, guys, the way things are looking, it does look like right now it may be just a sweep of the low. Guys, you know that I'm not a breakout trader here on the channel. When we see breakouts either to the upside or even to the downside, they're very, very volatile scenarios. So I prefer, in this case, to not trade Bitcoin. And we'll talk about all of this in a second. All right, guys, let's just kind of scrape through this top 100 real quick and see what's going on with the overall market. We have a bit of a dip here across the board, of course, based on Bitcoin. But generally speaking, the altcoins are holding up okay. You know, they're kind of going sideways. Look at BNB. We have Solana looking okay with a bit of a bounce. We have Dogecoin sideways. A lot of sideways price action in the last little while for the altcoins. The altcoins have been taking a bigger beating, right? And given the fact that Bitcoin is down approximately 3% in the last 24 hours, and Ethereum only down 2%, what really it looks like is that the Bitcoin dominance could be falling just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Maybe it topped out, maybe it didn't, but this is the relationship that we're seeing here right now, that altcoins currently are slightly outperforming Bitcoin, just ever so slightly. Could it just be the beginning? Maybe. The reality is that altcoins did take a bigger beating, and also because of that, it is giving us the greater opportunities to be buying at lower levels. And that's what we should be looking for, is those horizontal levels that are going to be acting as support, and those volume gaps that obviously show us weakness, and then prepare for those weakness spots to actually react, right? As we fall to those lower levels, I would suggest, obviously, you know, finding those opportunities, getting fundamentally bullish, you know, do that deep dive research, be prepared, because that's when, you know, that's when usually the magic happens. The critical decision making needs to be made. AVAX going sideways, and you can see a lot of the market is going sideways here, guys. Are we planking going sideways in preparation for a bounce, or are we just going sideways in preparation for another dip, you know, a further continuation to the upside? We have Aptos up 4%, and you can see the general market is somewhat in the red, but not by much. I would conclude that it would be sideways, right? Because depending on the hour of where you look at this, at these charts, it does look like it's sideways. Stacks, guys. STX is the ticker. Guys, I want to talk about Stacks today just a bit, because you know, the Bitcoin narrative is a narrative that is definitely picking up pace. We have runes that are talking about quite a bit. It's a very complicated scenario to get involved at the current moment. You have to, you know, buy NFTs. You got to, you know, start, you know, participating in pre-launches and all of that kind of stuff. However, guys, there are already a lot of projects within that narrative. For example, Stacks, the blue chip of the Bitcoin narrative. You know, layer 2, obviously on top of Bitcoin, providing good opportunities for smart contracts and many other aspects. And Stacks has been around a while, and you can see at a $3.3 billion market cap, you know, it's doing pretty good here. So today I want to talk about Stacks just a little bit and see what kind of opportunity, but there are a lot of other layers on top that are providing smart contracts given mint layer. And we have, obviously, they're a bit different than ordinals in the way they work, but and especially if you're considering runes is just an upgraded version of ordinals, you know, patching up some of the issues that ordinals do provide the Bitcoin narrative, Bitcoin network. But we have also Space, Microvision Chain, which is also part of the narrative. There are many, guys. Make sure you do that deep dive research to get well-rounded behind what the Bitcoin narrative is about. But I feel like a good entry is to talk a bit about Stacks, so we'll do that today. What else do we have here? Price action going sideways, Maker getting a bit of a bounce, H-bar going sideways, and you can see that generally speaking, all these markets, all these charts look exactly the same. Guys, everything's moving in unison. Core, maybe a bit more bullish than the rest, of course. Phantom looking okay, but still within range, still kind of going sideways. Yes, it's up 2%, but you might look in an hour, it might be down 2%. Then you look back in another hour, it's up 2%. This is what happens in sideways price action. We need the price action to resolve and figure out where it's going to be going. Celestia going sideways, but looking pretty bullish in comparison to the rest of the market. So is Sui waking up a little bit here. Thorchain maybe looking for that dip. It's down 5% today, you know, down 35% in the last 7 days, guys. That's definitely an opportunity for sure. If you're bullish on Rune, be buying those dips. What about, what's this? Zbeck taking a dip today, down 16.5%. I have no idea what that is, and of course I'm due for a bit of research. Ondo looking good, it's up 5%, but you know, as long as we're going sideways, a lot of the price action right here could be used as horizontal support for future price action. This is why I like sideways. Ultimately, if we see signs of accumulation in the sideways level, if we do get a bit of relief to the upside and it does backtest this level, it could act as support. So it's somewhat of a bullish thing when we consolidate and we get market participation and all that kind of stuff. So the market right now is looking okay. At least it's going sideways. Bitcoin's falling. It fell a little bit here today, but nothing crazy. When you shouldn't be emotional about this price action at the current moment. Let's keep calm and collected. In fact, you should already have a plan set in place for what you are going to be doing in case Bitcoin, the market, continues coming down. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin. Let's begin our analysis using Bitcoin as a leading indicator. What's going on here with Bitcoin? Bitcoin, obviously, is right now it's testing that support. It fell below, and we can see that we've done that before. We wicked below before, and in fact, this wick is slightly higher than the previous wick, but this horizontal, this white line, this thicker white line, for me is a very important level. Why? Because then we introduce a lot of weakness on the chart, and we fell right below it. We sweep the lows and got a nice little bounce right back above it. Guys, could we hold above, form a bottom, and start running to the upside? Let's see. Let's check this out in a little bit more detail. You know, honestly, breakout trading is difficult. Like, that's why I don't classify myself as a breakout trader. This is a breakdown, obviously, but it's still a breakout. We're breaking out of structure, right? And it's not even the strongest structure. We only got 2 touches in the top, and we're going for, you know, if you want to classify this as a touch, okay, maybe. This is definitely one, and where we are right now is another one that we are totally disrespecting the trend at the current moment. We came down below, and you know, we have about 4 or 5 hours till we close this daily candle. So we have some time to see exactly what's going to be playing out. But the negativity across the market with regards to momentum is still there, right? We're still seeing bearishness, and I'll show you what I mean. Now, let's keep price action in right now. Let's just look at price action. You can see there's a bit of weakness still here. You know, price action did run up significantly in the past, leaving no support levels and a lot of empty volume gap. We do have one right here at 52. Now, all of a sudden, a lot of people are talking about a $52,000 Bitcoin. And many people are talking about this as being a triangular formation. Guys, I was one of the rare individuals talking about this being not a symmetrical triangle or some sort of triangular formation. In fact, expecting it to be a bull flag. Okay, so this is where we are. Now, is it an actual bull flag? Statistically speaking, bull flags should break out bullish. And this is where we're at. Now, if we do break down, think about it, this breakdown is going against the probability of a continuation to the upside based on the bull flag. However, sometimes they do break down, and that's the statistic. That's the reality. So you have to be prepared. Now, sometimes we sweep the lows and then get the bounce. Sometimes we come down to a nice extension level, a nice good level of horizontal support, and then come up and then just start rocketing to the upside. The question is, where is Bitcoin going to go? On this dip, we got very little volume, no real market participation in here. I don't see much conviction on the market that we should be coming down lower. And the fact that we bounce right above, back above the horizontal support as we speak is a sign that the bulls are not having it. And that's it. The bulls bought it all up. So what should we be doing next? Personally speaking, as a breakout, guys, it's very, very risky. We could definitely get a bounce here and get to the top of the range once again, testing these highs. Now, if that's the case, where do you put your stop loss? If you're going to go long, where do you put your stop loss? If you go short, where are you going to put your stop loss? That's the hardest thing. That's why I don't like breakout trading. Going short right now is a very risky thing. Why? Because you don't know where you're going to put your stop loss. There's no way to invalidate yourself at this current moment, unless you get into lower time frames, which introduces a whole other set of risk, right? So at this current moment, the best way to do it, if you're going to be shorting, is to wait for it to break out, let it back test this horizontal for resistance, using previous support as resistance, and then short that confirmation high, the lower high. And then you're mitigating risk and you know where to put your stop loss right above the high. So in this case, it's a bit too risky. In my opinion, obviously not financial advice, guys, I'm a bit more biased to the bullish side, given the fact that we are in a bull trend and that we are expecting a continuation for the bull run. However, guys, you know, a short-term dip, it doesn't mean that we can eventually get that recovery and get bullish again. So I'm not willing to trade Bitcoin at the current moment. I'll be honest. And there's many reasons. Momentum. Let's look at momentum. The momentum line, the purple line, is still pushing to the downside here, guys. This is what we got. We got lower lows. We're still making that trend. You see the yellow line still making that trend. The overall momentum is not completely oversold, which means that it's possible that we do get oversold. The only argument that we have here is that the last time we came to this zone, we did get support. Do we get it again? Is there going to be a trend where we hold these levels again? Maybe. Guys, no certainties in any of this. Look at the expansion. We got a red expansion that lasted a while, coming out to lower levels. The last time we got an expansion, it ended right around the zone. And again, we didn't get oversold. Are we going to do that again? It's very possible. However, guys, as we get into oversold conditions, I am going to get a lot more conviction with regards to building a stronger bullish position. I want to be able to get in oversold conditions. If we do not get into oversold conditions, my position size is going to be small. Mind you, it's not Bitcoin that I'm going to get my position size. It's the altcoins. Remember, I use Bitcoin as a leading indicator. If Bitcoin looks bullish and it's oversold and ready for that bounce, I'm going to be dabbling into altcoins, expecting altcoins to take full advantage of Bitcoin stability. And eventually, when we get that altcoin season, altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. It has done it many times and many bull runs over and over and over. It's just currently at the moment, Bitcoin's showing a lot of strength, at least holding structure and going sideways. So this needs to resolve. We need to figure out how much more negativity do the bears have still left in them to push the price down, and there's no major indication just yet. We're making slightly lower lows on the price action. As you can see, if we close that red candle that way, it's not looking good, and there's no bearish divergence any longer. We did identify potential hidden bullish divergence. It got it invalidated because of this dip and because of, you know, the momentum not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So ultimately, guys, we need to be careful here. The trend is still pushing down, guys, still pushing down. You know, the EMAs are facing down, the red histogram bars are still facing down, and my oscillator, my trend oscillator, is not giving me any indicator so far. It's stuck in a chop zone. It's stuck in the mid zone where it doesn't know where to be going. And I got a red dot. Guys, that red dot showing me bearishness, many red diamonds showing me bearishness. I still feel like the market is going to keep on coming down in the short term. However, guys, I am not afraid of buying dips, because my convictions are there. If Bitcoin comes down to about 52, I'm going to be sniping some entries on the altcoin market for sure. And STX is one of them. And the reason why is because STX is part of that Bitcoin narrative. Think of STX as a leveraged position on Bitcoin. When Bitcoin gets its bounce, expect STX to bounce even harder. Why? Because it's a lower cap and it's considered an altcoin, right? And of course, for that matter, we should see STX run up with Bitcoin upon a bounce, and also run up with an altcoin season. So it's almost like double dipping in both narratives. And at the end of the day, upon a retracement, we should take advantage of the dips. And when Bitcoin gets that bounce, you're going to expect a recovery. You know, lower cap altcoins, they run a lot harder than large cap. And this is one of the reasons why I think getting into a stacks position or any Bitcoin narrative project, including, there's many of them, guys. We'll discuss them tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Feel free to join, guys. Live tonight, we'll talk about the Bitcoin narrative if need be. But at the current moment, we do see stacks at a decent level. Okay, let's look at this in a little bit more detail. Let's focus on price action here for a second. Previous high, really interesting spot. 200 daily EMA, very interesting spot with a lot of confluence. Volume gap, fell through the volume gap and looking for support at the bottom of the volume gap, which is usually confluent with price action, of course, because volume and price action, they correlate. More volume meaning stronger price action, and we can see that there's a bit of confluence in this area. So I'm going to adjust this horizontal to represent this overall TA a little bit better. Guys, right in this area, I'm seeing a lot of interest. I'm seeing a lot of emotional individuals, let's put it that way. Falling through the volume gap, getting a bit of a bounce right on this horizontal might not be bad given the fact that we have the 200 previous high and the bottom of the volume gap. This empty space right here. So a little bit of more of a negative pressure could bring the price into some good zones. However, guys, let's zoom out a little bit. In fact, I'm compelled to go into the weekly. I rarely go on the weekly, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of, you know, exclude all the noise and focus on some of the important aspects. Guys, we do have a lot more weakness in certain areas. We got to understand that what we're really doing with this price action is backtesting all of this as support. And even this doesn't have that much volume. The reality is this area has a lot of volume, $1.60, lots of volume. This area, $2, nice psychological level, lots of volume. You know, basic on price action, it looks decent. So the next area that I'm looking for is $1.62. If we come down to there, we have this top and this bottom, this whole little jitter that we got here, and many of these tops as horizontal support. And then we also have this little volume gap, which is also interesting for a potential bounce with this high right here. So we got a few arrows. Guys, don't mind the mess down here. This is when I was buying stacks and talking about it on the channel almost on a daily basis to get in. And this is where I built my major positions here on stacks down here. I have the videos to prove it. Go check it out. They're all there on the channel. All right, guys. So let's kind of look at what we should be doing today. If you're on the sidelines, DCA, guys, you can see this thing is looking super bearish to the point that we're desperately trying to look for support here. Okay, so previous price action, decent zone right now is not bad. Don't nickel and dime for an entry. Right now, buy the dip. If it comes down to here, obviously I'm going to be a lot more happier to buy around here, but you never know, it may not happen. Basically what I showed you on the daily does suggest that it could get there, so be prepared. The next level that I'm interested is right here. The only reason being is that we have this little, you know, price action right here, these tops and these tops, and we begin a bit of a wall of supply and demand right here. You can see this spike of volume that could act as a wall. Coming down, get a bounce right off of it and get some sort of accumulation. And then finally, guys, I'm loving this zone right here. So 3 buy orders would be great. Not accumulating a bit of a position and obviously leaving a bit of capital reserved for an accumulation. Now what I'm saying by that is, look, you can get in with a small bag here, small bag here, small bag there. At all areas, you don't know if we're going to actually get support. However, if we create some market structure on the price action that gives us indications of a bottom, because right now we're trying to catch a falling knife. Let's get into the daily. That's a little bit better. You can see that we could definitely get support right here. Maybe use the 200 daily W out, inverse head and shoulders, cup and handles, things like that right around here with bullish divergence. Good stuff here. Momentum still trying to push to oversold conditions. And so is the trend oscillators. Okay, so this is the issue here, guys. Try not to catch this falling knife. What you really want to do is slowly DCA into a position and then build that position if we get an accumulation range where we see a spike of volume in the volume profile, suggesting that market participation is interesting or interested. At this current point, we're not there yet. To the point that we're in a volume gap, not even filling it. There's not much volume into here. So we're still in a great opportunity to accumulate with ease and comfort without that volatility, without those emotional individuals in the market. Okay, so that's where we're at. I like it here. I like a bit here and a bit here. And as soon as we get some sort of sign of W formation with bullish divergence, especially seeing the momentum oversold below the 30% mark and seeing this expansion, this red expansion to the downside, pretty much taper out and showing us that we're closing off the volatility to the downside, similar to the upside, how slowly we started coming down. Same with this expansion, came up, came down, and eventually we start coming down. Right here, we're really overextended here on this expansion, suggesting that maybe the end is here. Maybe the dip is almost done. I would give it a little bit of time here, guys. I would love to get in oversold conditions as we got into oversold conditions here in the past. That was decent. If we do get that opportunity once again, that's the best time to get in. And just remember, in bullish conditions, a lot of the times oversold conditions do not come. The retracements are not deep. So the best strategy here is to deploy capital bit by bit. Okay, so even the trend, look at the trend strength. Still EMAs are facing down. We still, the histogram bars are red. We got the indication, the expansion of the trend to the downside. We got our red dots really early, and you can see that based on those red dots, if you happen to, get defensive right around here, take a bit of profit, even here, getting all the diamonds, the red, all of a sudden, boom, you start coming down and you're in a good spot, right? DCA in, DCA out. That's a great strategies. And at this current moment, I think taking a bit of risk is not a bad idea. Okay, so we got our 3 entry levels. And again, once we see that the market is trying to accumulate at a particular level, giving us a sideways structure in consolidation, that's when we can choose to get involved and participate with the rest of the market participation, building their positions. Okay, guys, I'm going to give you an update when that does happen, of course. And definitely join the live stream, guys. Tonight, 7:30 Eastern, we'll talk about crypto news and price action. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.